Hello and welcome back to Canberra Arts, presenting another episode of The Stage Door right here in Corner Brook on Rogers TV. We are really fortunate to have so much going on as November comes to a close and we hit December. Of course, there's a lot of Christmas events. There's a lot of events in general. There's pop-up events. There's events at our theaters, at the Arts and Culture Centre, at the Rotary Arts Centre, and of course from us here at Canberra Arts. And that's not all. There's projects that are happening too. I'm here with two incredible artists that we are so fortunate to be working with at Canberra Arts, and certainly no strangers to the Corner Brook and Western Newfoundland communities. I'm here with Edmund, MacLean, and Cindy O'Neill. Thank you so much for taking the time to drop by to the Stage Door to chat, folks.
Thank you.
So Edmund, we will start with you. Of course, Edmund has been the artistic director for Stephenville Theatre Festival and Theatre Newfoundland Labrador. Spending a lot of time on our lovely west coast of Newfoundland, and it's been a real privilege in the past few years to have Edmund come back to Corner Brook, working with Canberra Arts to direct some shows. And this year, he's working on two projects with us. One focused on seniors and storytelling with Forever Young, and another, which is our community musical this year, The Prom, which is currently being auditioned. Auditions are being accepted till November 28th. So stay, if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out. And before we talk about all those projects, though, there's a question for you, Edmund, and let's start at the very beginning. Where
Sounds
did
like the
this
sound
love,
of music.
where did your love and journey in the arts begin?
It's funny, when I was studying theater, they asked you as an exercise to go back in time. And the further back you go and try to remember what you're doing, the better you will be as an actor to, at an instant moment, call up a recollection to help you with your role. And I just thought of this. When I was in grade 5, the nuns were putting on, in the parish hall, the nativity scene. And they cast me as a shepherd. I really wanted to be one of the three kings, but anyway, I was going, well, I don't have any clothes to be a shepherd, because in my mind, they weren't poor. And so I went home and told my mother, and it just happened that a box of clothes arrived from Boston, because in Cape Breton, many of the people moved to Boston for work. So we still have that wonderful connection with the Boston States, we call. And in the box was this beautiful coat, and it had kind of a fur collar on it that folded down. I said, this is perfect for the shepherd. So I went on the stage, and I remember waiting for the curtain to open, and all I could see was the red curtain. I was behind it, and I was just taken away by the magic of this curtain with the light and the feeling. And so there I was, supposed to be this poor shepherd, but I looked more like one of the three kings.
There we go. And of course, I think that's a beautiful story. The magical moments is, I think, what brings everyone to the arts, whether as an audience member or taking the stage. It's those moments of magic. And Cindy, what about you? Same question. Where did it all begin?
So I'm going to, as I do try often, I'm going to outdo you.
Oh.
So yours might have been grade 5, mine was grade 2.
Of course.
And of course. And so I think it was destiny. We were doing an in-class play, and I was cast as an adjective.
Oh.
And, yes. And I remember one of the parts was that I had to pat my curly hair, and I didn't have curly hair. So I went home, told my mother, and Mom put rollers in my hair so I would have curls. And so the fact that I was an adjective meant that I was going to be somewhat flamboyant, and I was going to look for the descriptors in life, and I think it was kind of my destiny.
Well, there we are, both fated chances of, and in our youth, it is so important, the people when we are that age that do the shows, that lead the music or dance.
Yes.
They change our lives.
They do.
They really, really do.
So which one do you like to be, an adjective or a shepherd?
There we go. We'll have a poll out on that. Very important question. So Edmund, we'll move a little ahead now. What was it that brought you to Newfoundland?
Oh, I went to Dalhousie to do theater and came back, and I was living in Labrador at the time, and I came back and decided I would form a community group called the Mokami Players, and you really discovered very quickly how rich this province is in the arts and culture centers in theater, which we had none where I came from. And so I decided that I would do an evening with Jean Genet, and to bring to the drama festival. At that time, you had an audition for it. Your group had to, and they sent somebody from St. John's to come around and look. So I brought it to Stephenville, performed the show, to the horror of everyone. I think most people were screaming and leaving the theater when they saw the three women come out with whips, and lingerie was used as jay sails, and the boys were walking around chained in chains, and I think they thought they were coming to some kind of musical. Anyway, Maxon was the adjudicator. At the end, he quoted Oscar Wilde. He said, from the stage, so everyone could hear, Edmund MacLean is in the gutter, but he's looking at the stars.
And there you have
And
it.
there I had it. Then he went back to Montreal, saw something in my work, my vision, and asked me to come back and be part of the first drama academy in Stephenville. And we did the Scottish play, and The Man Who Came to Dinner, and that's how Stephenville Theatre Festival started in Theatre Newfoundland and Labrador. So and then I stayed. I fell in love with the place.
Yeah, and again, you've certainly, not including your time in Labrador as well, community theatre has always been a big part of what you like to foster
Well,
and the spaces you
yeah.
want to create.
Well, I went to David Smallwood, who was the chair, and I said, I think we really have to do community theatre because the theatre belongs to the people, and get them involved, and we'll build future audiences with our youth and start a youth theatre program. And the very first musical was Fiddler on the Roof, and how timely is that today?
Absolutely.
And now Ian's asked me to come back and direct another musical called The Prom, which is also very timely.
Yeah, and it's again such an incredible legacy of community building and community theatre that you have with you, Edmund. And
It's so important. That's where many of us got our beginning.
Absolutely, especially in this province. You know, for those that don't know, and I know we've said it before, but the Newfoundland Labrador Drama Society hosts every year a festival that brings these plays together from across the province. This year the festival is actually in Labrador, which is wonderful. You know, it means for the theatre groups, often that means choosing a really intimate small show to be able to travel it and bring it to new audiences, and audiences around the province at the different centres, arts and culture centres, get to see 7 shows in a week.
And
it's a
I
real gift.
I hear they built a new theatre there that's
In Goose
something
Bay,
like the arts and culture centres across the province.
It's
Is that
quite
true?
amazing, actually.
Is that true?
That space, yeah.
Do you know?
In Goose Bay, yeah.
They do?
It's
In Goose Bay?
quite incredible. And Cindy, we'll move to you. Of course, you're Newfoundland connected, but what was it that brought you into the professional arts and that part of your journey?
So beyond grade 2, so so actually it would have been the Newfoundland Labrador Drama Society as well, and the festival. So I grew up in Stephenville, and Bay Theatre was the community theatre group there, and I was a part of that forever. And then I guess my natural next move was I decided to study theatre at Grenville, so I did the 4-year program there, and then just had opportunities, so I've from Stephenville Theatre Festival, I was introduced, so then I moved into Stephenville Theatre Festival, and I was introduced to Woman of Labrador. It was written by Sherry Smith, and dramaturged the very first year by Lauren Pardee and Marilyn MacLean. And I was so fortunate to have been asked to be the actor, and that was 30-something years ago. So I've been acting as Elizabeth Gowdy since, and have been on so many different stages. I performed it on a ship. I performed it in the foyer of the CBC building in Toronto, and I've been in very small halls and on big stages, and it's magic, and it continues to be. And just 2 years ago, brought it back to Goose Bay and performed it at the Legion, and Elizabeth's son and many family members were there. So it's been a journey, and as a part of next year, we'll be bringing that back as well. So.
Yes, so April 2026 in Corner Brook, we'll have 2 performances of Woman of Labrador at 110 Humber Road, presented by Canberra Arts, and it is an incredibly impactful story. It's an incredibly intimate space to watch it, and a real privilege to have both the director and that performer, and to know that you've had that role connected to you for so long. You know, what is that like? You know, this is based on an autobiography of someone who grows. So you have then had to have the chance to grow with that role and journey. So what has that been like as an actor? What a gift. You know?
And what a gift. So a part of the growth is like the natural physical growth. I do have color in my hair now, but when I started way back when, I used to use shoe polish in my hair to have that look. And then at one point I became natural, and I didn't have to wear a wig at all. But now I've changed that, and now I have to do the wig thing again.
Really?
But yes, really. But as I've moved along, I have grown to appreciate the story. Like it's 100 years ago, and the changes in a life over a very short 100 years. I mean, Elizabeth's story is all about how she survived, and you know, in the wilderness while her husband, who was a trapper, was away, and she raised babies and killed animals, and you know, and survived. And again, it's the strength of women of a time. So I am always grateful and flattered, and appreciate my good fortune to walk in her shoes whenever I get the opportunity to do so.
No, and it's certainly a privilege to be able to present that this spring coming. Let's talk a little bit about the project that you both are working on. This project is through Canberra Arts with support from New Horizons, which is from the federal government, and it's all focused on enhancing life for seniors, but also being led by senior citizens in our community. And one of the things we talked about was the difference in terminology between saying that, you know, old is a mindset, but being an elder or a senior citizen is something that has wisdom, has tasks, has things to share. And in many of your interviews, the mindset still feels like it's 17, and the energy's still going much like you both, who aren't much older than 17, right, Edmund?
Yes. Why don't you tell them how you were too scared to ask me to head up the project, Ian?
Well, Edmund remains a mystery. We've met some incredible people already in this project in our conversations, and of course, you know, any room, as I'm sure many of our viewers know, when you ask a room of children to raise their hand if they're looking forward to their birthday, most hands go up. But as we age, fewer and fewer hands go up in that room. And I think this project is about revitalizing that and making sure that there is so much to celebrate, you know. And, you know, Edmund views himself as a mature adult.
But tell them about the conversation.
Oh.
That you were too scared to call me.
Well, you know, this project
Or
is
do you
led
remember
by
it?
seniors.
Are you a senior? Do you remember
There we go, hey? And, calling Edmund to say, now, I will say the project has to be led by a senior. And of course, Edmund said, oh, well, I don't know if that's me.
I
I'm
said,
a mature
I
adult.
will do it if you don't call me a senior, but mature like a good wine. Yes.
And we're so fortunate that these two artists have come on board. And let's just talk a little bit about what the project is and how some of those conversations have went so far in your research. So I'll open that up to you both. You've shared some great stories.
A while back, I was watching a documentary on music, and one of them had young people, elderly people, a mixture of every age, but the elders, the seniors and the older people really caught my eye. They were playing musical instruments, they were singing, and the song they were singing was Forever Young, and I got really emotional about it. So when Ian said he wants to do a project about aging, I always like to have a title when I'm working on something, so the title came to me, Forever Young. And we've been interviewing many people around the area. I stopped them in malls, stopped them on the street and asked, how does it feel to be old? And they said, what do you mean by old? I don't feel old, And I'd like Cindy to talk about our experience, the most wonderful experience in Stephenville at is it called the swimming pool?
The Aquatic Center.
Yeah, I'd like Sydney to address that because she's from there and she can tell you. But I would just tell you, I was all about going in and saying, oh, I'm going to get, it's going to be, we don't feel the old age, it's just a number, things like that. And this one woman I interviewed looked at me and said, age is a punishment, and I lost my breath. I'm going, how am I going to turn that into Forever Young? So, yeah. But Cindy will be the best person to describe what happened in Stephenville.
Sure. So the reach of the project is the West Coast, and because I'm from Stephenville, there was a connection. And actually, at the Aquatic Center, there's a seniors swimming aqua fit program. They have 44 people who attend, and probably more, but that's on a given day. Yeah. And so we contacted Tim Alexander, and he was willing to kind of put an ask out to some folks to see if they would like to chat with us. So we did have that. And we have devised kind of a list of questions, but the conversation can go wherever it naturally wants to go. And it was just, again, it's wonderful to just put it out and ask people to continue to, to just take that and tell their stories. And again, some people talk about hardship, but I think some of the focus points that are coming up for us now would be that socialization is so important, and fitness is so important, and again, holding on to whatever we can for as long as we can, so we, folks can make those years as comfortable as possible, and to not stop living, and so with all that information now, we're just trying to tie it into the themes or topics that will come up for the show. And I think you've got some kind of definite areas that you're hoping to take that in. Yes, Edmund?
Yeah. Yes, and we had so much fun. We did a lot of laughing, and the only thing those women would not tell me the dirty jokes they say when they're in the pool, right? But the interesting part is after they exercise, they go on to do something else. They will bake.
Yes.
They will go to a gym. They continue. They have no time. Like, time to them goes by so fast. Like one said, we get up in the morning and then it's the evening.
Yes.
And there's so many people that just, well, I'm not sure of this, but I suspect that many people who just don't feel like they want to get out of bed, or they just give up. And I'm hoping by us doing this, we'll inspire at least one person to get out, walk, fall in love again.
Yes,
And so and then and being here, things happen that I didn't plan, and I'd like Ian to discuss my idea about the food and who we approached.
Oh yes. Well, I
And the
think
cookbook,
we have a really. This project was rooted in community, combating ageism, and that socialization, which is so important. So with the presentation in April 2026, it is going to bring young people together with seniors. Some of the words from our seniors will be said by youth, which has an impact, but also creates a shared respect, which is so important. Multi-generational learning is so valuable. And then, of course, Newfoundland, and certainly Western Newfoundland, and Newfoundland and Labrador for that matter, have no shortage of recipes and recipe books. New Horizons, funnily enough, has produced a cookbook in the past in Corner Brook. Noel Murphy, former mayor, produced it with that grant. With one community in Corner Brook, and there's also, of course, the United Church Cookbook is a bit of a legendary one as well. So we're planning to take some of those classic recipes and make that part of our evening, partnering hopefully with some local restaurants. Park West has certainly expressed some interest.
Yes, the chef, who's
Adam,
the chef now?
Adam Bishop,
Adam, yeah,
who's
I met
been a
with
wonderful
Adam.
connection as well.
Yeah, and he's going to...
and great supporter of the arts.
He's going to meet with Ian in January and will be here to discuss the recipes.
There we are. So it's a
Can't
grand...
can't you just smell your grandmother's homemade bread, right?
Exactly.
Like that's what Joe Gowdy said after he saw Cindy do the show. He said, how did he say it, Cindy? He
I
came up
can
to
smell the bread coming out of the oven.
Yeah,
we are.
after what? Isn't that a beautiful compliment?
And smell is such a strong memory sense.
Yes.
So it is so important to a show like this that's about memory and story to have that present. And of course, like we said, that's not all you're doing. We're actually currently still accepting auditions for the prom. I will say Edmund's only here for one more day, so it's actually this evening, November 20th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. So if you're watching and you're really interested, get up and head straight over to 110 Humber Road for a group audition. But we are, of course, accepting video submissions to make sure that nobody gets turned away, because this is about community. The Prom's a beautiful show about two teenagers in Indiana that want to have a prom, and she wants to take her girlfriend to the prom, and the community, some members of the community stand up against that, but really they just want to have that normal moment in their high school time. So it's a beautiful show happening in March 2026, and as I said, auditions are open. The Prom 2025 at canberraarts.ca, and don't hesitate to reach out if you are a member of, if you are an elder in our community. Don't hesitate to reach out to us at Canberra Arts. We'd love to have a chance to hear some stories from you. And as I said, there is a lot coming up. I have a whole page in my book. You can say one more as long as it's short, because we're reaching our end.
I'm going to get Cindy to tell. I had the most beautiful, fantastic, moving moments, inspirational, with the grade 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Oh, yes,
students, and their addition was to tell me what they would wear to the prom. And I was so emotional that I was taking notes. I couldn't finish. Cindy had to finish taking the notes because they were wise beyond their years. Could you give one example of something that stood out for you about that?
Sure. So the idea was, you know, what would you wear? What would you choose to wear to this acceptance prom? And one person said they would have a tux, but it would be a typical tuxedo top with, I think, the sleeves ripped off, and the bottom would be very large and bouncy and billowy, and then it was a combination of all worlds. Someone else that actually many of them made connections to their family and experiences, and brought back a day or a moment or whatever with their grandparent or parent, and they would incorporate something that was very special to them.
It's funny, it actually ties both of these projects together, that so many of those teenagers opened up so much about their family history. Their grandparents came up a lot, you know, so it shows the importance of elders in the lives of those teens, that came into what they would wear if there were no expectations. What would it be? And so often it was something that connected to to grandparents. So there you have it. That's
Yeah.
a great connecting feature. And like I said, lots coming up in Corner Brook. The Arts and Culture Centre has a whole wealth of events. November 20th, Wannabe, a Spice Girls tribute. November 24th, the 20th anniversary of the Berry Merry Christmas. That always sells out, so get your tickets soon. November 28th, Mill City Mavericks and the Broadway Blues Band. December 1st, the once incredible group from here in Corner Brook. And December 2nd, Canberra Arts is presenting Katie Anderson and Adam Luther. That's going to be a beautiful classical show as Katie rings in her 90th birthday at the Arts and Culture Centre. And it is going to be a wonderful thing. So dress in that cocktail attire, grab a ticket, and go see that show and celebration. The Rotary Arts Centre has on November 21st, Bus People is performing. November 28th, Writers NL is doing a free event for local writers. And then November 29th, Sherman Downey is hosting an Emerging Artist Circle. So that's going to be a real treat as well. They, of course, have their public art series as well. The 22nd and 29th, there's Ariane Renek in the library doing a free event, and then a miniatures painting on the 29th, also free. And from us here at Canberra Arts, November 21st, we have Jennifer Billard, who you're going to hear from as we ring in our credits. December 7th, we have our annual Hot Chocolate Social and Sing-Along that afternoon, so drop by the building, sing some Christmas songs, have some hot chocolate. And December 12th, we have Songs for a Winter's Night at Corner Brook United. And December 22nd is our annual Christmas Gala to end our year, our big fundraiser. We'd love to see you there. And speaking of fundraising, we do have our gold sponsors to thank for making all that we do possible at Canberra Arts and the Graham Academy, Harbour Financial Group, and White & George Accounting. We're so deeply privileged to be surrounded by some fantastic supporters here in Corner Brook that make what we do continue to be possible. Thanks, Edmund and Cindy, for coming to the stage door, and folks in Corner Brook, we'll see you next week.